200 บาทนะครับแล้วเดี๋ยวพอจบงานนะครับเราก็จะมีการติดต่อทุกท่านกลับไปตามอีเมลแล้วก็เบอร์โทรที่ได้ลงทะเบียนกันเอาไว้นะครับโอเคถ้าอย่างนั้นพร้อมกันแล้วผมขอเข้าสู่หัวข้อแรกเลยนะครับเป็นเรื่องของความท้าทายกันในการปฏิบัติงานซ็อกในปัจจุบันนะครับคำถามแรกนะครับผมเชื่อว่าในส่วนของ Incident Response Workflow ในองค์กรของทุกท่านเนี่ยก็คงที่จะมีอาจที่จะมีส่วนที่เป็นเรียกว่าเป็นคอขวดนะครับในคำถามนี้นะครับผมจะถามคุณกิตติพงศ์นะครับเกี่ยวกับเอ่อสิ่งที่เป็นให้แสดงความคิดเห็นเกี่ยวกับสิ่งที่เป็นคอขวดในขั้นตอนของ Incident Response เหล่านี้นะครับขอเชิญคุณกิตติพงศ์ตอบคำถามแรกเลยครับ
ครับขอบคุณครับคุณไอซ์แล้วก็ทาง TikTok ไทยนะครับวันนี้ก็ทางผมกิติพงศ์ธุมนัสนะครับเป็น CEO ของทางบริษัท Pretty Sky ซึ่งเราเป็นผู้เชี่ยวชาญทางด้าน Cyber Security แล้วก็เราเป็นตัวแทนจำหน่ายของบริษัทที่ทำเรื่องเทคโนโลยีทางด้าน Cyber Security หลาย ๆ อย่าง โดยเฉพาะเรื่องของการทำ AI Cyber Security ซึ่งเป็นเครื่องมือใหม่ที่จำเป็นของทุกองค์กร ทีนี้ก่อนที่จะอธิบายถึงคำถามสิ่งหนึ่งที่ผมคิดว่าทุกท่านน่าจะสนใจและอยากรู้ณปัจจุบันซึ่งเป็นที่ทราบกันว่า Security Operation Center หรือ SOC เนี่ยเป็นศูนย์ SOC ถือว่าเป็นหัวใจของการเขาเรียกนะการจัดการทางด้าน Security ของทุกองค์กรแม้ว่าหลายองค์กรที่ใช้ระบบ Security อยู่มีการ Protection อยู่แต่บ่อยครั้งเราเจอปัญหาที่ไม่คาดคิดหรือ Incident หรือเหตุการณ์ใหม่ๆเกิดขึ้นตลอดเวลาเพราะฉะนั้นการจะจัดการ Incident ต่างๆที่เกิดขึ้นเนี่ยต้องใช้ข้อมูลจำนวนมากจากสิ่งที่ได้จากระบบที่มีอยู่ซึ่งปริมาณของข้อมูลของ Incident หรือ Log หรือ Data ที่เข้ามาที่บอกเหตุการณ์นั้นมีทั้งประโยชน์แล้วก็มีทั้งอุปสรรคเพราะว่าด้วยปริมาณที่มันค่อนข้างเยอะการที่จะวิเคราะห์แล้วแยกแยะให้ตอบสนองได้รวดเร็วและเข้าใจถึงปัญหาแล้วไม่เกิดข้อผิดพลาดหรือเชิงของ false positive เนี่ยมันจะยากในการที่จะจัดการและนับวันเนี่ยระบบของทุกองค์กรทางด้านไอทีเริ่มใหญ่ขึ้นเรื่อยๆเพราะมันก็จะเป็นอุปสรรคในการจัดการเรื่องของการจัดการพวก incident response เพราะสิ่งที่มันเป็นปัญหาเหล่านี้ Sumo Logic ซึ่งเป็นผู้นำทางด้านของการจัดการเรื่องของการทำ Intelligence SOC เขาก็ได้นำเครื่องมือใหม่ๆเข้ามาช่วยซึ่งมันจะตอบสองมิติคือหนึ่งคือทำให้เรื่องของระบบเนี่ยมันมีความฉลาดมากขึ้นด้วยการที่เอา AI เข้ามาในเรื่องของการที่จะคอยเรียนรู้แล้วก็ให้ความฉลาดในการตอบสนองพร้อมกับรวบรวมเอาเครื่องมือหลาย ๆ อย่างที่เราค่อนข้างใช้งานแมนนวลอยู่ณปัจจุบันหลาย ๆ ซ็อกยังต้องใช้ Third Party ใน tool ทั้งเรื่องของการวิเคราะห์ต่าง ๆ รวมทั้ง Threat Intelligence เข้ามาประกอบร่างเพราะในการทำงานแบบนี้จะค่อนข้างซับซ้อนแล้วตอบสนองเรื่องของ Intelligence Response ได้ค่อนข้างล่าช้าไม่ทันท่วงทีนั่นคือสิ่งที่วันนี้คิดว่าคุณประวินน่าจะแชร์รายละเอียดหลาย ๆ อย่างที่จะบอกเราได้ว่าทำไงเราจะแก้เพนพอยต์เรื่องภัยคุกคามตรงนี้ได้รวดเร็วและมีประสิทธิภาพแล้วก็เขาเรียกอะไรทำให้เราสามารถจะทำงานได้ efficiency มากขึ้นด้วยเครื่องมือที่มี AI เป็นหัวใจครับก็ส่งต่อให้คุณไอซ์ได้เลยหวังว่าคงน่าจะชัดเจนสำหรับคำถามครับ
ครับขอบคุณคุณกิติครับเมื่อกี้เนี่ยผมได้ยินคำว่า AI อยู่หลายคำหลายครั้งเลยทีเดียวนะครับพอพูดถึงเรื่อง AI เนี่ยในหลายๆครั้งนะครับเราก็จะได้ยินว่า AI มาแล้ว IT จะตกงานไหมในมุมเดียวกันนะครับ AI ในส่วนของงานมาถึงงานซ็อกเนี่ยผู้เชี่ยวชาญในศูนย์ซ็อกเนี่ยจะจะได้รับผลกระทบหรือเปล่าจาก AI นะครับยังไงผมว่าเราไปฟังข้อมูลนะครับจากทาง Sumo Logic นะครับจากคุณประวีณนะครับผู้เชี่ยวชาญด้าน AI-Powered SOC กันดีกว่านะครับว่าผลกระทบเนี่ยจะเป็นยังไงบ้างเราจะกระทบกันไหมนะครับ Hello คุณประวีณ please share your thought about AI-driven SOC will full replace analysts. Is it possible?
That's a very relevant question. Thanks, Kunais and Tech Talk. Praveen from Sumo Logic. I'm a regional lead focusing on customers, partners, helping them to modernize their security operations using AI, intelligence, and all the features that Sumo Logic provides to make that change possible. So this is a very relevant and important question, as I mentioned. And my view is that the AI-driven SOC are not here to replace human analysts, but to empower the analyst team to perform better. So here's why I think so, right? So AI excels in processing large amounts of data, identifying patterns that's in that data, and also surfacing those anomalies at machine speed, which is very important and critical, and that would overwhelm a security analyst otherwise. But the security is not just about these pattern recognition, but it's also about the context, the judgment, and also the intuition that the security analysts bring from dealing the complex threats and ambiguous signals that couldn't be figured out by computers. So think of AI as your digital analyst assistant in a way. It handles those repetitive tasks, reduces the noise, and highlights what's more important for you and suggests next steps. And this gives your human analyst, your security analyst, the most headspace to focus on those high value tasks like threat hunting, strategy of how to implement that, investigation from a response perspective, and more nuanced decision making, which what our analysts would do. So rather than thinking it as a replacement, I see this as a partnership where human and AI equal to a faster, smarter, and more resilient SOC. And honestly, in today's landscape where burnout from the security analyst is kind of a real and scare problem that many of the user is facing, and this augmentation from AI is not a luxury anymore, but it is becoming a necessity. And that's my take, Kunais.
Thank you คุณประวินครับก็น่าจะได้รู้ความเห็นจากทางคุณประวินกันไปแล้วนะครับอีกเรื่องหนึ่งที่ไม่พูดไม่ได้เมื่อพูดถึงระบบ security นะครับจริงๆอ่ะย้อนกลับไปตั้งนานแล้วแหละที่เวลาเรามีระบบ security สิ่งหนึ่งที่เราจะต้องเจอก็คือเรื่องของ alert นะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นระบบ security อะไรก็ตามลองนึกถึงว่าเราต้องเจออีเมลเป็นหมื่นฉบับต่อวันเกี่ยวกับการแจ้งเตือน alert นะครับพูดถึงในระบบ SOC ก็ที่รวมศูนย์solution ด้าน security alert พวกนี้นะครับเราย่อมต้องเจอเกี่ยวกับปัญหาของเรื่องการแจ้งเตือนที่มันเยอะแยะมากมายอยู่แล้วนะครับในคำถามนี้นะครับผมขอให้คุณกิติพงษ์ช่วยแสดงความคิดเห็นเกี่ยวกับว่าการแจ้งเตือน false positive พวกนี้ครับเราจะจัดการกับมันยังไงดีครับ
ครับเป็นคำถามที่ดีนะครับในเรื่องของปัญหาเรื่องของการจัดการเรื่องของ SOC สิ่งที่มันเป็นปัญหาณปัจจุบันเพราะว่าเนื่องจากทุกองค์กรจำเป็นต้องมี security ขั้นพื้นฐานไม่ว่าจะเป็น firewall หรือ web application firewall หรือ email security หรือ web security ทุกอย่างเหล่านี้มันเป็นอุปกรณ์ที่ช่วยป้องกันขณะเดียวกันเองก็จะให้ข้อมูลเช่นเดียวกันว่าใน security ที่เกิดขึ้นเนี่ยใน activity ต่างๆที่เกิดขึ้นทุกวินาทีเนี่ยมีความเสี่ยงหรือมีภัยคุกคามอะไรที่เข้ามาบ้างซึ่งปริมาณของหลอกที่ให้สูงมากต่อวันนั่นคือเหตุผลว่าพอคนที่ทำเรื่องของ security ในการที่จะต้องมาเข้าใจเรื่องของหลอกแล้วก็รับรู้ข้อมูลของหลอกต่างๆในเหตุการณ์ที่เกิดขึ้นเนี่ยค่อนข้างจะเบิร์นเอาในเรื่องของ effort หรือเวลาหรือพลังงานที่จะต้องมาเฝ้าดูเหมือนเราต้องเอาตามาจ้องกล้อง CCTV ตลอดเวลาซึ่งตรงนี้มันเป็นเพนพอยต์และเป็น challenge ของระบบของการจัดการ SOC ขณะเดียวกันเองในส่วนของ SOC ที่เกิดขึ้นหลายๆองค์กรเนี่ยก็พยายามใช้เครื่องมือต่างๆที่เข้ามาในเชิงที่เข้ามาเสริมกันแต่ว่าบ่อยครั้งที่เราเจอด้วยความชันฉลาดมันไม่มีการ learning จากระบบไม่มี AI เข้ามาบ่อยครั้งข้อมูลที่ alert ให้มันเกิดขึ้นบ่อยแต่มันเป็น false คือมันไม่ได้เกิดจริงมันไม่ได้เกิดเหตุการณ์จริงหรือไม่ใช่การ attack เพราะฉะนั้นทำให้หลายๆองค์กรค่อนข้างจะก็อะไรใช้ effort เยอะใช้คนค่อนข้างเยอะแต่ ผลลัพธ์ในการจัดการปัญหามีทั้งหนึ่งคือเจอ alert ที่ไม่ถูกต้องกับสองคือเขาเรียกอะไรไม่สามารถที่จะคัดกรองปัญหาของภัยคุกคามจริงๆได้ทันท่วงทีเพราะฉะนั้นนี่คือสิ่งที่เป็นเพนพอยท์ที่เกิดขึ้นกับทุกองค์กรก็อันเนี้ยเป็น challenge นั่นคือผมบอกว่าทำไมทาง Sumo Logic ถึงมุ่งมั่นพัฒนาเรื่องการทำ intelligent SOC ตรงนี้ครับก็หวังว่าคงตรงประเด็นในส่วนของการอธิบายว่าทำไมปัญหาที่มันเกิดขึ้นแล้วมันต้องเกิด intelligent SOC ครับส่งต่อให้คุณไอซ์เลยครับ
ครับผมโอเคจริงๆในงานของซอฟเนี่ยมันมีหลายงานเลยที่เราต้องทำนะครับแต่ว่าจะเป็นไปได้ไหมถ้าเราสามารถที่จะปรับปรุงงานส่วนหนึ่งให้มันเกิดความเป็นอัตโนมัติได้แล้วมันจะออกมาหน้าตาเป็นยังไงนะครับในคำถามนี้นะครับผมขอถามคุณประวีณให้เขาช่วยฉายภาพให้ดูนิดนึงว่าถ้าเราสามารถที่จะปรับปรุงงานให้มันเป็นบางส่วนให้เป็นอัตโนมัติได้มันจะหน้าตาเป็นยังไงนะครับประวีณ if you could automate one part of your SOC what would it be?
Yep, thanks, Kunais. So if I could automate one part of my SOC, it would be alert triaging and prioritization. So this is where most of the SOC lose valuable time and analyst energy, going through hundreds and thousands of alerts, many of which turn out to be false positives or low priority. It's a repetitive, draining, and delays the response to actual threats. By automating triage using AI, especially the features like confidence scoring, anomaly detection, the context enrichment, we can actually filter out the noise, eliminate and focus on the real threats and elevate them and route them to the right team faster in terms of prioritization. So this not only boosts the SOC efficiency in a way, but also reduces the analyst fatigue and helps the team to stay laser focused on the incidents that actually matter to the security team. That's what I would do. I think this writes back to the panelist discussion. Thanks, Kun Kitty, and thanks, Kun Ice, for helping to organize this and have these questions. Great questions, by the way. So now it's time to go into talk about how AI is transforming modern security operations, not just in theory, but in practice. So I'm going to talk about some real world capabilities that's delivered by Sumo Logic's cloud native platform and focus on the AI SOC itself. So if I talk about AI in security operations center, like the SOC team, today AI is mimicking human-like intelligence in a way, right? So the AI SOC is a journey towards self-protecting the enterprise. That's where it's headed towards. And it starts with augmenting the analyst capabilities that I answered in one of the panel discussion just now. And it moves towards automation and autonomous decision-making, right? So it's having that powerful analyst assistant in a way that's with you, reducing your time taken to detect. That's called mean time to detection, and also reducing the mean time to respond. So if I may talk about AI in context, so let's level set. Many people talk about AI in a certain way. So I'm going to talk about what AI is. And AI is mimicking human-like intelligence artificially, from conversations to complex decision-making structures that we have. And it also enables us to do more with less efficiency and provide the insights that we need. So if you look at artificial intelligence, is a global umbrella that comprises of machine learning, where the machine learns by doing data analysis, feeding that data that we bring in from those different sources. And part of that is also deep learning. And if you look at some of the industry use cases where artificial intelligence is used, other than the SOC, so you have things like healthcare, where we have diagnosis of illness, and the quality engineering, where you're trying to do things like predictive maintenance, And in customer experiences, you have recommendations based on personalization. And if you look at the decision-making part, so we are able to prevent fraud and identify those use cases. Because you have the data, you're able to identify what's a proper transaction versus not. And in terms of productivity, we are able to increase the productivity of the analyst. So if you bring that back into the SOC, and how does that translate into all that efficiency that we spoke about is improving alert fatigue and reducing the time it takes to detect and analyze and summarize so that you can focus on smarter decisions and help to increase your SOC team's efficiency. And that's what AI can do, right? So Sumo Logic has been doing this for a while now. From the beginning, Sumo Logic has been a data analytics leader. And that's back from the year 2010. Now we are a 15-year-old company. We have been doing first in the industry as a SaaS analyst, data analytical platform hosted on SaaS. And our AI journey has started from that time onwards. And this includes things like AI ML-based log operators. And I think for those of you who have searched for logs and try to get information from them, it's a hard thing to be able to do things such as predictive analytics or generate the signatures, crunch down a humongous log volume into signatures. Those are things that Sumo Logic has in the platform, AI-based log search. And from an analytics perspective, the intelligent apps that we have for global confidence scoring, looking at all the different customers that Sumo Logic have, we have 2,500 customers globally, and bringing all of that metadata into the platform, that analysis on showing what is true positive, what is false positive. That's something that Sumo Logic is able to do using the global intelligence apps that we have, and confidence scoring. And this confidence scoring ranks from 0 to 100. And more it closes to 100, that's definitely something that Sumo Logic adds to tell you that you should prioritize this first, and that's machine learning doing that for you. And recently we have launched Sumo Co-Pilot as well. So this allows you to generate complex advanced threat hunting queries from just natural language processing. So this enables you, the team, to be able to use all of these innovations and more coming, to be able to bring down the barrier of entry, improve efficiency, and modernize your security operations in a way. So if I take a step back and see how does that fit into what Sumo Logic does. So Sumo Logic enables developers, operations, and security teams to speak the common language, which is data, which is logs in a way, right? And whether you're troubleshooting an outage or chasing a threat actor in the cybersecurity, looking at which are the threat actors and what are the threats that you're looking to identify from the data, Sumo Logic provides this platform of insight that is powered by our AI ML features that we just discussed, whether it's for searching to get to the root cause of a problem, or identifying patterns from humongous log volume, getting to know how that data spans across all the customers about Sumo Logic, and how confident is Sumo in determining that it's a threat or not, and also using natural language to provide efficient query so you can do your job effectively. So that's what Sumo Logic does for you. And if I focus on the AI security operations overview, so you can look at Sumo Logic brings all of these features together and fits that into AI SecOps workflow. And if you see how it does it, Sumo Logic's AI SecOps capabilities span across different stages of your security operations lifecycle. Whether you're doing discovery of the data, we have an entity model extraction capability. And if you're looking to use it under the monitoring, we have anomaly detection, such as outlier, behavior analytics, log anomaly detection, whether you're finding out for first seen activity or using that to detect things like extensive downloads or volumes that you can typically baseline it over a period of time. And that kind of analytics is something that we do in a monitoring stage. And we have an insight trainer capability, which allows you to monitor the insights effectively and share what are the tuning can be done to improve and monitor them for constant activation. And from an investigation perspective, when you're investigating your security alerts in the SOC team, we need to look at some of the behavior insights of the logs, like signature generation ability, reduce that to provide comparison against a point in time in the past, called log compare features, and log explain, which provides details about how does that log actually come about, what is the first activity, what is the immediate next, etc. And we also have Co-Pilot, which can help you in investigating. There's going to be a demo later on how that helps you power your natural language query to be generated. And if you jump back into the last two stages, like responding to the cyber threat, which is part of mean time to resolution improvements, Sumo Logic has AI-powered capability built into some of these playbook executions. So I've seen customers who are leveraging their internal machine learning models by making a call from the automated playbooks to be able to get an enrichment from that and then use that to drive outcomes, make informed decisions, and also enrich using these playbooks. And if you go into a protect mode where you're not just doing reactive monitoring, but doing a proactive monitoring. So we have our platform has capabilities such as smart alerts and also AI-driven remediation workflows that is available, which not just focuses on detecting and proceeding in terms of investigation, but you can actually look at predictive security operations using AI, using what the user is doing. If you have a analysis on the user's behavior changing, that becomes a proactive intervention rather than reacting like a traditional SIMs do. So this brings all of that features together in a security operations. There's a lot more features coming in, and things like summarization, hypothesization, and providing you with context sharing so that you can go from a detection to investigation right away using things like AI-driven investigation, etc. So there's a lot of exciting stuff that Sumo Logic has already released in the AI features, and a lot more coming up this year that will efficiently transform your security operations to become a next-gen security operations and driven by the intelligence provided by Sumo Logic artificial intelligence capabilities, right? So if I double click on few of them to talk about those operators in general. So if you'll talk about the machine learning operators, these are the powerful tools that your team has to do deeper investigation. So if you see on the screen, there's log explain, which explains to you and cluster the noisy logs, such as a DNS or a WAF. You have multiple lines of information, but you're actually trying to understand and explain what's the behavior like. And signature generation in terms of log reduce. So it's crunching down thousands of log lines to be able to give you, here are the 5 different signatures and how relevant is that to the context that you're investigating. And Sumo Logic have an ability to predict the future. So if you see the logs and its behavior, it's providing you with an ability to predict where this is headed. Is it headed in the right direction where it's stabilizing, or whether you see a pattern that's going to go up, and that's where you would intervene before it becomes an issue. So these are things that you can use, or features like, as I mentioned, log reduce, log explain, predict, and anomaly detection capabilities to look at the raw logs that can come from any different sources and use these to get ahead of analyzing and get ahead of your threat actors who also have access to AI features as well, right? So that's how Sumo Logic provides in the investigation part. So now if you go into some of the capabilities that we provide on crowdsourcing this intelligence, imagine comparing your environment alerts to the global baseline, like everybody else in Sumo Logic. And that's our crowdsourced intelligence. It uses things like a global AI-driven confidence score, such as that's highlighted on the left side of the screen. You can see that this particular insight, which is an exfiltration-based activity, have a global confidence score of 20 by this user, internal user, and that is a lower confidence score because this is not something that we are seeing externally. And typically you would use this in stuff like DDoS, when you have multiple requests coming in and that's affecting a global adversary that's well known. You would have seen this in other customers. So that means the other customers see this first and you see them next, your global confidence score is going to go higher. And that's using machine learning to crunch all those 2,500 customers and see how that is going to impact and prioritize you that insights and give you confidence in driving that to faster adoption. And we can also see on the right side where we have the insight tuner. So this is our AI-driven recommendation. So when you have your threat detections detecting all the records into signals, we are looking at them and then identifying what is a noise versus what is an actual detection. And if we see a lot of noise coming through the logs, we are able to then use our recommendation engine to advise which rules you have to tune so that you get a better outcome in terms of your threat detection. And this is available in Sumo Logic already. It's under your Insight Trainer, and that trains and provides recommendation like funneling down which specific rules that you will have to tune. Okay, so that's an important activity. And an additional thing that I wanted to mention about in this part is we are able to make use of these features and add the efficiency part of the users, because if you are tuning all the 900 plus rules, you would want to start at the point of maximum impact. And how do you identify that? Insight Trainer is the right area to start doing that right away. So if I go into a quick information sharing on Co-Pilot for some of you who have not seen this. So Co-Pilot is our feature that is using natural language processing capability and use generative AI to provide things like query, complex query for this instance, and show advanced capabilities like what are the suggestions that I should do, what is next. So some of these features are already available in our Co-Pilot, which is things like ask Co-Pilot for anything. And it provides recommendations around the query, gives you data analysis, which if you compare any legacy vendors right now, and it takes a long time to get to see what you're looking for, especially when you're troubleshooting a real-time incident. And going from that incident to investigate, you're going to build your query, and sometimes this query doesn't result into values. How do we then bring it back is where Sumo Logic helps you with this Co-Pilot, where we have typed something like show me the client IPs with suspected injection of SQLs in the last 1 hour, and it automatically adjusts your filter, generates the query to pull out based on which context am I looking at, and gives you immediately and democratizes the threat hunting, which was specifically with some of the expert security analysts, and not everybody could do it without Co-Pilot. And that's something that we have done in Sumo Logic to be able to build that smarter in a way, right? So that's something that Sumo Logic have done. So if you look at it, I would like to show like a walkthrough on how Sumo Logic does this, and also highlight some of these key capabilities. And let me go switch over to a demo right now. Okay. So for those of you who have not seen Sumo Logic UI, so this is how Sumo Logic Cloud SIM UI looks like. And some of the key capabilities that I mentioned is our ability to use AI ML to be able to automatically prioritize, do entity extractions, and so forth. So from all the records in the last 24 hours that any customer brought in to our SIM, we are able to crunch that down into a smaller set of alerts, which violates the rules that we have defined. That could rule be a static rule meeting a criteria, or one of those advanced UEBA rules, which looks at baselining and then tells you whether it violates a certain principle. So from that signals, we are actively monitoring and extracting the entities, like what is the username, what is the the file name that's in there, and what is the host name of that particular system that's affected. All of those are constantly extracted from these alerts, and they are being looked at in terms of clustering together the signals based on that entity. And that's how we form what is called an insight, which is shown in graphically here. All these wavy lines is the logs. These spikes are the signals or the alerts, and the center triangle is the insight. So if I click on the insights here, it automatically extracts entity and provides the insight generation. So you see the first one, which is an insight of initial access for a user called Simon Smith. It is detected within a day, automatically correlating these 5 different signals. And it has given a confidence score of 60. So this is one of those ML features that I spoke previously. So it uses the model to scale between 0 to 100. And the higher the value, it's a more actionable insight that you should focus on. So that's why this is bumped up to the higher prioritization compared to the one below, which is 20. Even though this has 6 signals and this has only 5 signals, the severity is bumped to high and the confidence score is 60 because of the machine learning identifying, helping you to prioritize that incident as well. So I could drag and drop. This is what I'm going to investigate in my first action item. And then I can click on my insight to open that and investigate further. So in here, I would want to focus on some of the AI/ML capabilities as well. So this is using algorithmic generation, using our inbuilt machine learning model. You can see how the entity is now correlated. So this is a game changer when you're a security analyst and you're looking to improve automatically the triaging, which I mentioned. If I'm a SOC transformation that I need to undergo, what will AI do? This is what typically I want AI to do, which is what Sumo Logic does for you as well, is to analyze all that data, extract entities right in real time, and use that extracted entity to find how they are correlated. So if you look at these indents, so we have a correlation based on they have a dedicated relationship within the entity itself that's being detected, or does it appear to be in the same signal that are related somehow, right? So it gives you the relationship map, and the center entity, it is extracted as the user called Simon Smith. I can look at that details right here and explore what this user is. If I have an inventory information talks about what this user, I can pull out data from Okta and see. And I can also look at it from the exploration stage to say this particular user. So if I pull this out here, have a laptop that he uses, and this is the particular file that was infected and the name of the file that was got deployed in C Windows, and a lot more information about what IP addresses the request came from. So if this request came from an IP address like this one, if I click on that IP address, it provides me with all the other blast radius that this IP address was involved in. So I'm going from one particular entity, which was automatically correlated by my machine learning, and it created the blast radius of related entities. And in a related entity, I have an external IP, which I can see not just this user, but I can see also additional information that is being targeted like Dropbox, PL, etc., that this IP address is related to. So this gives me additional context that I can work with within the user and get to understand and provide a blast radius of this particular user itself. And you can adjust the time range on how you want to see this relationship. If I want to just look at the last 12 hours relationship, the update gets changed. And if you want to bring in a lot more data and to say, what was this user doing across the period of time, you can get to see additional information about the external IP. It seems to be coming from United States. So all these are automatically aiding my investigation so that I, as an analyst, I don't have that fatigue. I don't have to manually correlate these information presented to me by my AI-powered SIM here. And that kind of puts me right in the stage of bringing my analysis and say, how does this now impact back to my MITRE attack framework, and how do that do that? So from looking at this particular information, I could switch over to my co-pilot, which is now allowing me to do a threat investigation. So I have it open here. So I can go from there, and I know that this is related to a AWS related information that I'm trying to solve. So in my co-pilot, I have the context selected here. So you can change the context to say I'm looking at AWS logs, or I'm looking at my application logs. And this uses natural language processing to get to the root of the issue, whether it's looking at that particular issue that we saw just now where the user was impacted, or I want to know more about that particular service. So going into the CloudTrail, I can say, show me the log messages in the last 15 minutes, for example, which is where my investigation will look like. You can see the query is getting built using translation model, and it translates the complex questions that I might want to type, but I don't have that ability or the time. I can ask and interact with my natural language model, and it gives me the query. So here are the top log messages that I'm seeing. And I might want to do something even more. So that could be to say, maybe show me the count of different IPs. So this suggestion is also built by a suggestion model. So Sumo Logic is using Bedrock, which is the foundational model that is provided by AWS services. So we are relying on that as the machine learning model that we are using. And it's generating the query as one aspect of that. It's generating suggestions so that I can ask a little bit more relevant question. So here you see, I'm asking it to say, get me the count of different buckets that are being scanned by this specific names. And I get to see which one has the highest spike. If I'm looking at it from a table view, I can just click on it and it brings me that these are the S3 buckets that this user was accessing or available to. And I see that there are logging related bucket names that was recently impacted in the last 15 minutes of my investigation. And I can go in to ask, even type a different query to say, show the top 10 most frequent event names that appeared. So let's say that's my simple English query, and it should allow me to be able to generate my query that you see it's being created here. CloudTrail count frequent by event names, top 10 event, and give me an approximate count. So I go to the table view and see that the user in the last 15 minutes have been doing things like describing what the image is about, getting a ACL, which is very important, to understand why did he do that. And he has done console login for 4 times. That's, kind of tells me a story that somebody is trying to get access to some of the critical sources in my AWS account. And he even created an access key. So from this, I can show, okay, access key is very important for me. Show me the events where multi-factor authentication was not used. And this is to identify if there were any multi-factor that's not used. And that's definitely a big problem. So I go from humongous volume, ask it to query. It identifies that there are 3 assumed roles that is being performed here. And these are specific to a particular type of access STS that is being used. And that's where my investigation goes, that's interesting. Nobody does this in my application. And that's something that I need to know. And these are things that I can ask in a natural language query and allow it to build it. So if I switch to a get count of event by the threat actors, which is again a suggestions that's made by me in the alerts, I can get to see these are the top 5 activities overdone, and I can get a count of different events by assumed role, because that's what I look at as the primary event. And it shows me that there are a user that 7635 ending with 282. This is the role. So somebody is taking control from my CI/CD pipeline to be able to get into login using the session issuer. And this is a very critical information. I can go back and update this data in my investigation that I was performing here and get to add that to say, I want to investigate further. And I assign this to my team for next investigation to say in progress assigned to my senior analyst. And that's a team that looks at cloud specific analyzation. So I go from analyzing 6 different signals across the whole of AWS account where I have thousands of users, crunch that down, quickly go from here to there, identify the problem, and then solve it right away. All of this is available in the platform right now. So that's the live demo that I wanted to show you guys. So hope this gives you a good understanding of what Sumo Logic provides you with. And this is something like just a teaser in a way. And if you want to get a good hands-on and learn more about all the features that we provide and how we modernize your security operations, we actually have a workshop that's upcoming. And this workshop is related to how Sumo Logic is used for threat detection, investigation, and response, and all the AI ML capabilities that we spoke about. You get to practice them in a workshop that's happening in Thailand, live in person. And you can scan this QR code right now to register to this workshop where we talk about how Sumo Logic can help you in these aspects. We give you a lab environment where you can get to practice the threat detection, test all these cool features, including Co-Pilot, and get to go back and improve your security operations and use AI and transform your security operations from a regular to use intelligence powered by AI that's provided by Sumo Logic. So Kunais, if you want to share that back to the team in Thai as well, appreciate it.
ก็ก่อนที่จะเข้าสู่ช่วงคำถามนะครับเวิร์กช็อปนี้วันนี้นะครับเป็นเหมือนกับน้ำจิ้มเป็นข้อมูลที่จะให้ดูว่ามีฟีเจอร์อะไรบ้างนะครับเขาสามารถทำอะไรได้มีเดโมให้ดูเล็กน้อยนะครับแต่ว่าเอาจริงๆเวลาที่เราจะเอาโซลูชันเข้าไปใช้ในองค์กรเนี่ยมันต้องถูกจริตกับเราด้วยทีนี้เราจะรู้ได้ไงว่า GUI มันใช้ได้จริง AI มันเก่งจริงมันฉลาดจริงมันลดงานของเราได้จริงๆนะครับเราสามารถที่จะเชื่อมต่อซอสของข้อมูลในองค์กรเรามีอะไรบ้างถ้าจะมีข้อมูลเยอะเราจะสเกลขึ้นไปยังไงนะครับเราจะโจทย์ของธุรกิจก็ไม่เหมือนกันนะครับเราอาจจะมีเพนพอยต์ต่างๆนะครับซึ่งวันนี้คงไม่สามารถที่จะตอบคำถามโดยเจาะจงกับทุกท่านได้นะครับในเวิร์กช็อปครั้งที่เขานำเสนอในครั้งนี้วันที่30 เมษายนวันพุธเนี่ยครับก็ถือว่าเป็นโอกาสดีที่ท่านจะได้เข้าไปได้ทดลองได้เรียนรู้จริงๆว่า UI เป็นยังไงการทำ pipeline data การ set up การสืบค้นข้อมูลในสถานการณ์ต่างๆแล้วก็ต้องการปรับจูนการใช้งานเนี่ยมันเป็นยังไงนะครับในวันนั้นเนี่ยก็คือตั้งแต่ช่วงเวลา 10 โมงถึง 5 โมงเย็นเนี่ยทุกท่านก็จะได้เรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับข้อมูลเต็มๆอีกครั้งหนึ่งนะครับโอเคPraveen, before we go ahead to the Q&A session, I would like to hold these pictures for everyone. Okay, I think we have some questions that about your session. He asks about when each vendor have different format log. How you support those?
Yep, I think that's a very good question. So we have been supporting different types of log formats, different vendors, and created out-of-the-box integrations to support a wide range of technologies. There are around 350 out-of-the-box integration from most of the security vendors and operational vendors as well. And that includes different file types like JSON, XML, leak, CEF, CSV, and plain text formats. So Sumo Logic has a wide range of support, and any of them that you don't have, Sumo Logic have an easy way to create a parser that's based on our templates and ingest them to be able to get the data that you want. So it's pretty easy to do that. Is in Sumo Logic. Out of the box, you have capability as well.
Another question he asked about your score, your confidence score that appear on the program. What the ideas behind this score calculation?
Yep, great question. So the confidence score is driven by a machine learning model that learns data that is generated by a few things. One is the insight, which is a correlation of signals, and what happens during the insight investigation by the analyst across the entire metadata of our customers. So we have customer A until customer 2500s. We take all of these data and our model looks at the different signals, the metadata of these signals, and your MITRE ATT&CK framework. So anytime when a new signal or an insight is generated for you as a customer, we provide a confidence score based on whether is this a false positive, is this a true positive, or is this something that seems like first time we are seeing this. Based on that, the scoring works from 0 to 100, 100 being closer to a real threat, 0 being a false positive. So that's how we score it. So nice.
Okay, he asked about how the playbook's working.
Okay, sure. So in Sumo Logic, we have automation playbooks that works on the foundation of leveraging actions stitched together in a sequence. So you have a start and an end, and you can define actions to be part of that workflow. So playbooks is an automated way of performing response, enrichment, or containment. So Sumo Logic provides close to 350 out-of-the-box playbooks that have templates around how to mitigate DDoS, ransomware, and even common actions like enrichment, notification, etc. You can download them, modify, and use them directly, no cost associated. And you can create all these actions by your own by customizing them as well.
Okay. How you can integrate with third-party cloud SIEM? Is it possible, and how does it work?
Yeah, so typically when we have integrations that can come from multiple aspects. So integrations can be to bring data into the Sumo Logic. So when you're bringing data from an existing technology, you could be bringing in data from any of those data sources directly. That's the recommended approach. But you might be transitioning from an existing SIM to Sumo Logic. In that case, we have an extraction capability that most of the SIMs provide, where the data is exported, and we can ingest data in using various things like syslog. We can read files to collect data. We can also do things like API-based collection. So using that, we can collect from any technology, be it your existing SIM that you're replacing with Sumo Logic as well.
Okay. This question, I think, is connected to previous question. He asked about do we have to load those data into Sumo Logic first?
Not sure if I understand. To load, is it?
I think he want to know about can you analyze the data in real time,
Yeah.
or have to load before?
Okay, understand. Yep. Yeah, we have the ability to analyze data in real time, and even the detections that you see is real time. There's no delay in bringing the data and you see the detections. So once the data is in the platform, it immediately runs through the rules engine and you will see detections right away. So there's no delay like traditional SIMs where you have to do correlation manually, schema generation takes time. None of that is here. As the data comes in, it transforms into normalized data, and then the detections fire right away.
Okay. About the playbook features, can it be a false positive to contain some event?
To notify some.
Yes.
Okay.
I think.
Yes, yeah. So we have ability to have a search or look at the data. So let's say we have a threat signal or an insight or activity or events. So Sumo Logic is able to search and identify that event. And when the event matches the criteria, we are able to take action such as notification. That notification can be an email, can be to an ITSM or a SOAR, or even to chat ops like Slack, PagerDuty, Teams. And it can also do things like containment, like change a proxy, block a port, modify certain keywords. All of those could be actions that you determine, and that becomes your playbook structure. And you can do this with any number of playbooks based on different events. So one event takes care of one action, another event takes care of it in another playbook, and you can do X number of playbooks. There's no limit on the playbooks that you can do. Yeah.
Okay. คุณกิติ I have one question that for you about เราจะพิจารณายังไงว่าจะเปลี่ยนจากโซลูชันเดิมมาเป็น Sumo Logic ครับ
จริงๆต้องบอกว่าทุกโซลูชันนะครับมันก็มีประโยชน์มี benefit แต่เมื่อไหร่ที่เราเจอปัญหาเรื่องของความท้าทายเรื่องของภัยคุกคามที่มากขึ้นหรือทาง resource ของเราไม่เพียงพอหรือบางที่เคยทำงานลักษณะของการ outsource ในพาร์ทของการทำ SOC เนี่ยให้หน่วยงานข้างนอกบางครั้งความท้าทายที่กลับมาคือปัญหาภัยคุกคามเกิดขึ้นก่อนที่เราจะได้รับข้อมูลหรือสิ่งที่ทำให้ตัดสินใจในการที่จะ take action ในการป้องกันเพราะฉะนั้นสิ่งเหล่านี้คือสิ่งที่ทุกๆองค์กรต้องกลับมารีวิวดูว่าเครื่องมือเหล่านั้นที่มีอยู่ไม่สามารถจะตอบโจทย์แล้วเราต้องการให้ได้ผลลัพธ์ในเชิงของการทำงานที่รวดเร็วแก้ปัญหาภัยคุกคามได้มีประสิทธิภาพในระยะเวลาสั้นตรงนี้คือสิ่งที่เครื่องมือใหม่ๆอย่างAI SOC หรือ Intelligent SOC เนี่ยจะเข้ามาช่วยตอบโจทย์เราในการแก้ปัญหาเรื่องความท้าทายตรงนี้ครับ
ครับผมขอบคุณครับโอเคทางผมไม่มีคำถามเพิ่มเติมแล้วครับผมก่อนที่จะปิดงานสัมมนาครั้งนี้นะครับต้องแจ้งว่าในงานสัมมนาครั้งนี้นะครับเราจะมีรีรันวิดีโอนะครับใน YouTube Channel ของ Tech Talk Thai นะครับยังไงก็สามารถเข้าไป Subscribe กันไว้ก่อนได้นะครับซึ่งจะมีงานสัมมนาของ Tech Talk Thai Webinar ทุกครั้งนะครับอัปโหลดขึ้นบนนั้นนะครับโอเคคุณประวิน I think we have no more questions.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Kunais. So I'm going to close off by sharing some of the top 3 takeaways, and then we can close it. So what I want the team who have joined here to take back from this is Sumo Logic's Co-Pilot and other AI features boost your security operations efficiency. So things like natural language queries, allowing analysts to be able to conduct a faster investigation with complex query written in simple English language automatically translated. That's very powerful for efficiency purposes. And if you look at how this AI can benefit from alert fidelity, we saw that critical alerts are being surfaced higher in terms of prioritization, filtering noise and clustering them together in terms of entity correlation, and allows you to be able to focus on the real threats So that enhances the fidelity of the alerts that you're getting out and also reduces the burnout, which improves the productivity of the team and adds more to mean time to detection and resolution, which is the third point. Is from a business outcome perspective, AI-powered threat detection using Sumo Logic actually improves your security outcome and reduces the risk exposure by focusing your faster time to do things like detect faster, respond faster, improve efficiency, reduce your burnout. So these are the things that I want the team to take away from. And for those who have not registered yet, Kunai, as he said, would share the details for you to register. Come join us to learn how Sumo Logic's AI-powered SIM that allows you to modernize your operation using intelligence can help transform your current SOC into a SOC that is driven by AI, optimizing your efficiency and improving your response and MTTD and MTTR as well. So thank you. Thanks for your time. Kunai, if you want to close it, appreciate it.
ครับโอเควันนี้ต้องขอบคุณทุกท่านมากนะครับผมขอเป็นตัวแทนของทางทีมวิทยากรจากทาง Sumo Logic นะครับขอบคุณทุกท่านที่สละเวลานะครับแล้วก็อย่าลืมนะครับถ้าใครต้องการข้อมูลเพิ่มเติมนะครับสามารถเข้าไปลงเวิร์กช็อปในวันพุธที่30 เมษายนนี้นะครับแล้วก็ถ้าใครที่เข้ามาไม่ทันนะครับสามารถดูรีรันวิดีโอได้ในทาง YouTube Channel ของทาง Tech Talk Thai นะครับแล้วก็อีกเรื่องหนึ่งนะครับอย่าลืมว่าวันนี้สำหรับผู้ที่เข้าร่วมทุกท่านนะครับก็จะมีสิทธิ์ที่ได้ลุ้นลัคกี้ดอนะครับถ้าใครได้รางวัลนี้นะครับก็จะมีทีมงานติดต่อกลับไปนะครับก็ไม่ต้องตกใจนะครับไม่ใช่ call center ยังไงก็เตรียมตัวไว้ด้วยนะครับอาจจะโทรไปคอนเฟิร์มข้อมูลนะครับโอเคถ้างั้นขอบคุณทุกท่านมากเลยครับสวัสดีครับกวิน and คุณกิติ thank you so much for sharing your knowledge
อยู่กับคุณครับ
ขอบคุณครับ